in my teenage years, I suffered pretty bad with anxiety and depression. For the most part, man, I'm pretty good like now and stuff. Like I still get bad anxiety. I think that's just been something that I've, have kind of dealt with most of my life. But when I was a young kid, I kind of never really identified that being anxiety.
Yeah, right.
It sounds crazy, but I always say this, like, I'm so glad that, see, this is the funny thing. I'm glad that I went through that experience, because ultimately it's carved me today.
Yeah.
Like, I would not be the person without going through that dark kind of chapter.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that having these problems are good. It's not. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone, but I'm grateful that I was able to see light through that dark kind of chapter, because, bro, I've just like learnt so much from it, and I'm the person I am today. It's how I act. It's how I engage with all my clients.
Favor, guys, hit the follow, subscribe button. Share this with someone who would benefit from it, and help us grow. As the more we grow, the better the episodes we get. Thanks, guys, for helping us, and let's get into the episode. I'm addicted to this case, bro.
Yeah, you fidget with it.
It's a nice case. They did it right. It's actually pretty sturdy as well. It's like an AirPods case, but better.
Oh man, the AirPod case. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Mine's like now like a little bit off center because I've just been flicking it too much.
Yeah.
But this one I think is pretty right. My dog loves this.
Hello.
Loves the little mat here.
Victor.
Hello. Testing 1, 2, 3. So I'm gonna basically. Well, firstly, guys, welcome back to this episode of SCULPTED Podcast. Today, we are joined by Colby. Now, Colby and I have like literally just met for the first time, and I found Colby's Instagram, and I was like, okay, firstly, this guy is close by. That's always a good thing. Secondly, he's got a podcast, and thirdly, he's young. Now, are you 2002?
2003, so I'm 2021.
Okay, all right. So, I'm 2004.
Yeah.
But you've had your birthday already.
Yeah, I turned 21 in February.
Okay, all right. So you're pretty early. I'm September 2004. So you're probably the youngest guest I've had on. To be fair, most of the guests that I have.
Yeah.
To be fair, like actually, a heap of my guests are like football people in like the UK specifically. Just because I speak English. If I get Germans on, it's a little bit tougher.
Yeah.
I have had a few Germans who speak good English on, but it gets a little bit difficult at times. But yeah, we are in person again. This is the second in-person podcast that I've done this week, as I explained to you before. So I'm going to be doing more of this, more of that BBL Drizzy song, because it's just so fire. And yeah, I'm pretty keen for today, Cole. So I'd love if you could quickly just introduce yourself, go over what you're doing, just so the listeners can understand who you are.
Yeah, sweet as, man. First and foremost, thanks for inviting me on your podcast. It's an honour to be here. So yeah, my name's Colby Shaw. I run a video production agency in Newcastle. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I just create videos and stuff and run a business.
Yeah. Okay. So talking a little bit about the business, I want to hear kind of, firstly, why like media production?
Yeah.
I can kind of like guess, going off your Instagram, I can see that you've always kind of been, doing that side. And then additionally, what does that scope look like for you day to day, and also just team wise, if you've got a team, or is it all yourself?
For the moment, it's all myself to answer that second part of that question. I'm still only very young. You look at the last 12 months, man, I only had one client 12 months ago.
Right.
So the last 12 months, there's been a lot of growth, and I've seen a lot of progress. So, that's could be something potentially brewing in the future.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just day by day and improving every day, and still learning. There's a lot to learn. Obviously, I feel like no one really knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Really, on a given day basis, I feel like it's just that consistency and those right steps every day that makes people look like they know what they do.
That's facts. If you do it long enough,
Yeah.
then people will start thinking, yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Just like with me with the podcast, I've been doing it for a year and a half, but I still don't know. You saw me with the camera settings. What's 25p?
Bro, don't expose yourself like that. But yeah, that first side of the question, I've already forgotten it, but like what was it?
Yeah.
How I got into
Why the media side?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. I found myself kind of interested in just creating videos as a form of expression in my, early teens, mid-teens. And so towards the end of high school, when the question was getting thrown around, like, oh, what are you going to do, after high school and stuff, I I didn't really know what I was going to do, to tell you the truth. Like I just thought I'd probably go to uni or something like that.
Yeah.
But then I kind of realized, like in those last few months before my HSC, like I was seeing people, you know, doing videos and stuff and making a good income and you know, making it their livelihood and their job, full-time job. So I was like, God, like if I create now, like I can do this for my full-time job. Like how good's that?
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, like I want to pursue that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, did you have any like background? Like, is your family member into like video or anything like that?
Oh, not really. Like my mum would, you know, like to take a few photos here and there, but I wouldn't say
Like any mom?
yeah, but no, she had like a camera and stuff, and she's really good at like taking a photo. So I feel like that's kind of where that, like from an early age, I feel like, yeah, that's kind of where a little bit of the inspiration came from. Like if you know our family, like we're really big on photos as well.
Okay.
So like if we're like all standing in a certain spot, like, yeah, my mum will just say, no, don't stay like that. It's really, it's a really funny kind of.
Do I just move over a little bit to the left?
Yeah, literally, like photos with our family is like a process, and a lot of other people that come in and see that are like, oh wow. So I feel like maybe from the early days, that's kind of where that's been a little bit influenced. Yeah. But apart from that, yeah, not really too much, I'd say, is on that creative side. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. See, like for me, I was like kind of forced into it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm very privileged to be able to have these cameras here and whatnot. But if it wasn't for my dad having that side, I probably never would have touched anything like even similar to something with a lens on it. Like it's purely because of my environment, and that's with like video editing as well. I've done video editing longer than I'd played football for, and it always had just been there as a source of income for me, or a source of like potential income, like what this podcast is, right? So that's kind of like how I saw it for me. And then when I saw what you're doing, because it's kind of, in Australia, we are like, I don't know, maybe 20 years behind, like the UK and US, I think, in terms of what's happened. Like, I see it in football a lot as well. Like, we just found out about playing out from goal kick. And now everyone's ripping that. But, you know, that was the thing about 20 years ago in Europe. Yeah. So,
when they're like in year 10, under 10.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So, there's a big difference in terms of like, just time difference in terms of culture and what happens in Australia. And I think, you know, maybe Australians now switch into that side where you've got podcasts from Australia that are doing well globally. I think that they still are doing primarily Australia, but, you know, getting more of a global reach, being more appreciated as Australians is more prevalent, I think. And it's good to see. And that's exactly why I reached out to you, because I think that what you're doing, I haven't seen anyone else do at your age. Now, that's probably because I also just don't go on social media like that. Phone down there is my social media phone. My other phone is my like communication phone. So I try and limit my social media as much as possible. Yeah. But to me, I was thinking, yeah, he's doing something different compared to most people. So that's exactly what I wanted to get you on and talk a little bit about the production side that you're doing, and then additionally a bit of like the psychological side, which is that tall poppy syndrome. And I literally spoke about this with the last guest because he was from the UK. Yeah. And I think that we actually get that from the UK. The tall poppy syndrome. Are you familiar with tall poppy syndrome?
Yeah, it's pretty common here in Australia. Yeah, I think like culturally, it's kind of, you know, I wouldn't say embedded in, but yeah, it is pretty prevalent. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that actually, what type of like, what type of relationship do you have like with Sydney? Like, do you ever go down to Sydney? Have you ever lived there? Anything like that?
No, I definitely haven't lived there. Okay. I don't think I ever could. I think Sydney, no, not to shit on Sydney, but I think it's just too busy. Okay. Growing up in Newcastle and stuff, obviously, it's a coastal town, coastal region. I just love that whole vibe. I feel like Sydney's just a bit too much. Yeah, okay. But no, I can appreciate the city. It is a really nice city, Sydney. And yeah, I go down there. I've been down there a few times, but it's not really... I've only been down there to shoot like a music festival. Like I haven't really, that in terms of work, that's the only kind of work environment that I've kind of been down there for. The rest is just like if an artist from international artist comes over, like, you know, you go to Sydney because that's the nearest.
Yeah. They're not going to Newcastle.
No.
Yeah.
So that's literally, or a holiday, like international, like that's about it. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the reason why I say that is because I think that even from place to place, it's different. Like I think that where I used to live in Sydney, and that was like only a few years ago. It was for football, And literally from like suburb to suburb onwards, there's a massive juxtaposition in culture. And that's obviously due to different ethnicities and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure.
But I find that like a typical Aussie kind of culture, you're going to have that tall poppy syndrome much more. And that's why I kind of link it to the English thing. Because I think in England, obviously, if you don't know about Australia, we are English convicts, basically. So we kind of got the worst of the worst. Not to like belittle the convicts, but I think that's kind of the natural path that they take anyways. And we kind of get like the tall poppy syndrome from England, I think. Because when I saw it, there were parts in Sydney where it would be, you know, really, really prevalent, and others where it was less prevalent. I think it is still culturally very prevalent in Australia. I think when you think about America, like, they're the most cringe people ever. Like, to a degree, tall poppy syndrome is needed. But in Australia, I think it's ripped in a heap. And I think in Newcastle, and maybe the Central Coast a little bit, it's really prevalent because it's very just English culture rather than like the European kind of culture. What do you think about that?
I just say it's just like I don't want to like box it into a certain spot, or because I just think people are, you know, ultimately at the end of the day, people are gonna say, or people are gonna act that the way they've been brought up or what they believe in. And the way I look at most things, like if it doesn't really affect me, or like, you know, at the end of the day, you're in control of yourself. So you make your decisions, you can live your life. If people are gonna try and bring you down or try and stop you from doing that's on them. Yeah. It's not gonna stop me. Yeah. So like if someone could say whatever they want about me, and you know, to some extent, yeah, it would obviously hurt. You can't lie. What people say, if it's negative, it's gonna, you know, you're gonna look at that negative comment and go, oh, dang it, like that sucks. But for the most part, man, like it's not gonna stop me, you know, from pursuing my goals, my passion. Yeah. Because it's my life. I'm in full control of that. And yeah, that's what I got to say about it. I understand what you're trying to say with the whole like, but I just think at the end of the day, it's down to just who you are as a person and how you, you know, what you've been brought to believe and stuff like that. Yeah.
I think it's easier when you're a bit older. When you're younger though, it's much tougher. It's like,
yeah, for sure.
In school, I think probably more prevalent there.
Oh, 100%, man. Yeah, that like, especially if you go out, like if you're at school and you're doing something a bit different, put that in quotation marks, different, like define different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, yeah, you're more probably subject to judgment because it's outside the grain. You know, you're not playing a sport.
Yeah.
Or you're not, you know,
doing the cool thing.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which also varies from school to school as well.
Yeah. So again, I just think it's subject to your environment, what you've been exposed to, and the person you are ultimately. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. It's a tough one for sure. I think I literally had never even heard of the tall poppy syndrome until like a few months ago. And I was like, oh damn, that's actually what it is. I think I'd maybe heard of it before, but actually not really put two and two together. That's what it meant. And that's why I think you don't see many podcasts like this in Australia. Most of the podcasts you see in Australia are kind of like very relatable in terms of like fun, relaxed. But for me, this is a self-development podcast. Like I try and get people on so that I can learn and so that the listeners can learn, right?
For sure.
Where in Australia, that's not always belittled. I think it's sometimes encouraged, especially with the health aspect. Australians are typically pretty healthy. But in terms of the trying to become better, it's kind of like a little bit cringy, and I'm aware of that. Like my podcast can be cringy at times. I think putting yourself in front of a camera, full stop, there's gonna be cringy moments, right?
Yeah.
And you just got to kind of just lean into it, because if you want to get to that goal, then worrying about these small things that others judge you about, in the future they won't, because you're going to be the new standard that they've set. And I think that that's kind of what you're doing with the media production side at such a young age. You know what I mean? Okay, talking a little bit about, actually, I forgot the questions. Yeah, I should have started off the questions. Let's get into the questions. Okay, so
no, that was a good discussion, but like,
yeah, that is a good point. Yeah,
it's a good point. Yeah.
Okay, so what is the best feeling that you've ever experienced?
Oh, bro, I'd say the first music festival I shot at. Just unreal. It was a goal of mine from when I first kind of picked up a camera.
Yeah. Yep.
So that overall feeling, I was just like, bro, you couldn't wipe the smile off my face for like 3 days. I was like, oh my God. And I was going through all my footage. I was like, what, did that happen?
Yeah.
It's crazy. So yeah, I'd say that so far.
There's nothing like watching an edit back and just putting it on repeat.
Yeah, and just achieving a goal like that you never thought would have kind of happened, like you said, as a young kid, and then, you know, a couple of years later, you actually tick that box. It's unreal.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome, bro. Okay. Hey, guys. I don't want to interrupt this episode, but, you know, gotta do what I gotta do. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you leave a comment if you enjoyed it. If you want any, to give any feedback even, just leave that below. We're open to everything. Join the Patreon, guys. There's going to be a lot more stuff on there. We want to hear from you guys as well. We want to get you involved. If you want to be beta testers to the SCULPTED app, let me know. I can make that happen. Try and get involved at any level. What we're doing at Live Free, guys, make sure you check what we're doing there. Liam's got his own personal YouTube channel. He's always uploading. I've got my own personal YouTube channel that I've started uploading twice a month now. It's going to be cinematic like I am now, right? I've got the light above, got a cool camera. That's what I'm going to be working on, guys. So make sure you follow Live Free Diaries, SCULPTED app. We're doing great stuff over there. Additionally, we want to grow this podcast, guys. And the only way we can do that is through your guys' help. So make sure you subscribe, listen to us on all audio platforms. We're everywhere. So make sure you interact with us. Make sure that you help us grow, because the only way that we can grow this podcast is through you. We'll get better guests. We've always had great guests from the get-go, but we'll get even better guests on. Production value will go up. I've got my studio, but we need to get Liam his studio, and the only way we can do that is through monetizing this platform. So make sure you do that, guys. And I'll get back to the episode. I'll let you go. Now, what is the worst experience that you've ever had?
Jesus. So yeah, look, I'll be open and honest. I'm pretty passionate about mental health and stuff like that. In my teenage years, I suffered pretty bad with anxiety and depression.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, man, I'm pretty good like now and stuff. Like I still get bad anxiety. I think that's just been something that I've, you know, have kind of dealt with most of my life. But when I was a young kid, I kind of never really identified that being anxiety at the time. But so yeah, I've kind of always been a bit of an anxious person. It just kind of came to my attention when I was, you know, in high school and stuff like that. But yeah, so I'd say that whole experience of you know, I had some dark times and dark chapters with depression and stuff, and some pretty dark thoughts. But it sounds crazy, but I always say this, like, I'm so glad that, see, this is the funny thing. I'm glad that I went through that experience, because ultimately it's carved me today.
Yeah.
Like, I would not be the person without going through that dark kind of chapter.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that having these problems are good. It's not. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone, but I'm grateful that I was able to see light through that dark kind of chapter, because, bro, I've just like learnt so much from it, and I'm the person I am today. It's how I act. It's how I engage with all my clients. It's how I run a business. So yeah, truly from that, you know, 5-year period where things were a bit challenging, yeah, it's definitely helped me come out the other side and move on to that next chapter in a positive limelight. So yeah.
Wow, bro, that's incredible. I think that's very young as well.
Yeah.
So most people, I think, who have like those types of, you know, battles, it's probably a little bit later in their life when they're thinking about that. They're kind of reflecting back on what's happened, and that's incredible that you've gone through it and become better for it. That's, I think, the testament to you.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, thanks.
Is that you've become better for it, and
for sure,
that's where I see that kind of correlating with your business, because you're, even in the dialect that we've had, I've seen you've taken responsibility for things. I've heard you say, like, it's my fault in these specific things outside of, you know, even necessarily what you're just talking about then. You're taking responsibility, and that's where I see you kind of carving that direction for yourself, which is commendable. And that's what I think is really, really impressive. So yeah, I appreciate you being really vulnerable as well.
I'm pretty like open and honest about mental health. I think as a whole, it's deemed upon as a hard topic to talk about, and you know, I'm just such a voice and advocate for, if you have problems, speak about it.
Yeah. Because
like I didn't speak about my problems. Like, no one knew that I was going through what I was going through for a very long time.
Yeah, wow.
And I kind of boxed that away. And as soon as I kind of spoke out about it for the first time, God, man, it felt like a massive weight just off my shoulders. And that was the healing process for me. So like I'll be like if anything from this podcast, if someone's listening and someone's, you know, been a bit down in the dumps, if they can just hear this and say, well, I'm going to go talk to someone, you know, that's perfect for me, man. Like if I can help someone be a bit vulnerable and honest with, you know, someone that cares about them, yeah, job done. I'm happy with that.
Awesome, bro. That's powerful, and we can talk about it a little bit later, but that's exactly what my app is about.
Yeah, wow.
Leaning in on that proactive mental health, so that, because I've never been in that situation, and as you said, it's such a, you know, dark place to be, and you wouldn't wish it upon your worst enemy. You know?
God, no.
And that's where it's so prevalent in society today. I think especially in young males, and in Australia, similar to that tall poppy syndrome, the mental health in Australia, if you see it in the news, and you don't necessarily see it in the news as poor mental health, but in this area, bro, I think it's like every hour there's a domestic violence like issue, and
It's crazy.
literally the other day in the street it happened.
Oh wow.
And you hear stories about people, like, I remember that neighbor across there, he's like, yeah, a friend from the soccer team just got jailed for 6 months because of his domestic violence, and it's prevalent, bro. And I think that as much as it's important to be reactive, it's even more important to be proactive, to make sure those things never happen. And yeah, definitely very prevalent in today's society, and really good if we're able to be the voices for that as two young guys.
For sure,
And-
man. It needs to be spoken about.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, don't mask it up.
Yeah,
I know why people mask it up because I was there, I did it.
yeah.
But just don't. It's the worst thing you can do.
Okay, what would you say then? Let's create a hypothetical situation, or even go back to the Colby 5 years ago or so.
Yeah.
What would the best reaction be in that situation? Imagine you're at the beginning stages.
Yeah.
What would you do?
So pretty much, like, for context, I to answer that statement I said before, like why I masked it up. I've always been a happy, positive kid or guy. You know, everyone knows me. My peers and people know me as just this outgoing, positive. You know, you'll never see him with, you know, an upside down smile on his face. So when that identity kind of shift inside of me, when I wasn't feeling like that, that was a big kind of testing point for me, because I'm like, holy crap, like I'm not me anymore. But the funny thing was, I'd still go to school and just be that positive, outgoing kid. So I'd mask it because I didn't want people to see
The juxtaposition.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good word. So yeah, if I could just go back and change anything, which I probably wouldn't, because I think
You're better for it.
I think things are meant to be sometimes how they're meant to be. But look, if younger self was sitting in the chair you are now, I'd just say, just fucking tell someone, man.
Yes.
Just tell someone. Don't be ashamed of it. It's fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Powerful, bro.
Yeah.
Powerful.
That's it. And I know why people bottle it up, because they don't want people to think that they're, you know, feel like there was a real like sense of, for me, like the reason why I didn't speak out was like, oh, people won't resonate with it, or people won't really understand me, or people won't believe me. That I don't know why I thought that at the time, obviously being very young and immature, but yeah, that's kind of what I felt. And I feel like that's what like a lot of younger kids or teenagers probably feel in their kind of when they're going through that as well. And then obviously being a male, man, you know, it's hard to talk about your feelings sometimes being a male, but I just think being more vulnerable, you know, just puts you ahead in most areas of your life. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. Okay. Kind of changing the light a little bit.
Yeah.
Although, one of these in here, it's the worst feeling outside of that. And this is like, okay, let's create the hypothetical situation.
Okay, paint the picture.
What would you do? Okay. You film a wedding.
Oh God.
Your videos that you filmed were the best that you've ever filmed, and you just filmed the kiss scene, and it was the last shot of the night. You know, the bride and groom together.
Yeah.
And you're like doing that. Zoom into them.
Yeah.
All right. You don't check the footage because you got a 3-hour trip home. Maybe you're in Sydney that night,
Okay.
and it was like in it was in Fairfield, and it's like ages away.
Yeah.
You got to get home really quickly because you got an early night the next morning. Sorry, early morning the next morning. And as soon as you get home, you're like, I just got to check. Was that last scene was awesome? I just got to check it. Just make sure it's all good. You then open up the camera, or let's say you put the SD card into your computer, and you realize all the footage is corrupted. What do you do?
Fuck it. Oh, that's like probably my worst nightmare. Hey.
Yeah.
Look, when stuff like that goes wrong, you gotta just try and take it to the places where they restore it and just pray you get 80-90% of the stuff on that SD card back.
Yeah.
I feel like you can't really do. I don't know, like, and then the power of editing, man, is like you can
manipulate.
Yeah. You can like I've had bad footage and you can still make a good edit out of bad footage.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't, obviously you'd be stressed.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, that is stressful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would just go to bed. Big day. You've just traveled. Just go to bed. Think about it tomorrow. Take it to the restore place. Get it restored. Hopefully you get 100%.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you get 70 to 80%.
I've had it before, and I had to I think 90% about
90%.
Yeah.
So and hopefully most of the ceremonies that's the main part of the wedding when they're getting that first kiss and the rings put on and stuff.
Yeah.
As long as you put that together and you explain to the client or the vendors, whoever, that's happened, maybe offer a discount.
Yeah.
But again, it's hard because it's not really your fault.
Yeah.
And corrupting. So you don't want to discount on something that's not your fault. But yeah, you just take it with a grain of salt, and yeah, you just hopefully, fingers crossed, that you can get most of the footage back, and then you're working magic in the edit.
Yeah, stressing.
Yeah,
that's stress.
That's a good one. That's funny.
Okay. Now, this one's such a random one. I was thinking, what's the most outrageous thing that's borderline so out of context?
Yeah.
But helps me understand who you are.
Okay.
You see a cat and a dog on two separate train tracks. You see both trains on either track coming really fast towards each of the animals. You only get to save one in time before the train comes. Which one do you say?
Oh, man, I love animals. I just want to, first and foremost, I love animals, but I'm a dog person.
Okay, good. I was about to say, you remember my dog then before?
Yeah. No,
good.
I'm a dog person, so I'd probably opt to save the dog.
Yeah.
But it would be hard to watch the cat. Anyway. But when you said that, I'm like, is this a deeper question? But I'm glad you said it's just random, so that's good. So I didn't know if I saved one, it meant one thing or not. But
yeah,
does it or not? It's just
it's just what it is. Hypotheticals.
Okay, that's good.
I'm not gonna put a dog on a train track in front of you. After this, we're gonna go to a train track, and I'm gonna see if you actually are about your word.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd choose a dog.
Yeah. Okay. Funny one, bro. Funny. All right. Now, we've kind of gone in a little bit about the media production side already.
Yeah.
So I want to lean into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about your processes. So when you first started, now I probably similar to myself, you probably started at a relatively young age, just playing around with a few things.
Yeah.
What kind of progress did you make? What age was that in terms of you realized that you started to want to do it a bit more seriously? And then when you started to flip that switch even more, as we spoke before, after when the cameras went on, about that university thing, when you were thinking about going to university, psychology, and then you ended up going full-time with the business and then progressing there. So walk me through that kind of progression.
Yeah. So first time I made my first video, I was just it's so funny because I feel like most creatives start the same. You get a GoPro.
Yeah.
Hey, you make, funny, cringy videos of your summer or something.
Yeah.
Doing flips off a bridge in the water and just stuff like that.
Yeah.
Through your summer holidays, through school. So yeah, that started when I was 15. So I was a bit of a late bloomer. Compared to some other people that I've spoken to. But yeah, and then that gradual progression from 15 to 18, it was just making videos just for fun, and it was just a way of self-expression as well for me when I was going through kind of that dark period. So that's kind of all it was. And then obviously when you're 18, you're doing your HSC. I was doing my HSC through COVID, so it was very disruptive.
Yeah,
really annoying. But again, I wouldn't change it because, man, I learned a lot from that COVID experience, and it was a great experience. I thought, for me personally, it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, just before I sat the HSC, like the last 6 months of like my school career, I realized like you can monetize and you can make a full-time income and profession out of videography.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's when I realized, well, I love creating videos. Like my biggest thing in life was just to do something that you love, you know, like I would hate to go to work and not be excited for it. So I was like, I'm going to give this a good hot crack. Sat my HSC still, obviously. And
What'd you get?
I got an 88 type.
Bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Which I thought was pretty good because like I did not like really study.
That's
like,
good.
The 2 weeks before it started, I started to study.
Yeah.
But like the night, I'm pretty sure the night before one of our HSC exams, I was at a nightclub. Like, so like, yeah. And I don't want to sound like cocky or anything.
Yeah.
Like I just, yeah, like, yeah. That's what I kind of thought of that whole experience. It was just a bit funny for me, but I still managed to get good grades, and I got an offer into Newcastle University.
They were handing it out like during COVID. Like I had a few friends your age as well, and they were just handing it out left, right, and center. Did you get like?
No, I didn't get early entry.
Okay.
So I like a month after the HSC. That's when. Anyway, I ended up deferring, and I'm like, it was the start of 2022. So I was 18. I was just about to turn 19. And I was like, I'm going to pursue videography. I was working at Bunnings at the time. And I'm like, I'm going to build this up. And as I build my business up, I'm going to pull down my hours at Bunnings.
Yeah.
So I started on 30-hour-a-week contract. So I worked Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at Bunnings.
Jeez.
But I'd always have Saturday, Sunday, Monday off.
Okay.
And I knew in those 3 days, or every day I kind of worked. But I knew, especially on that Monday, when I wasn't at Bunnings, that I was fucking working, and I was working to try and figure it out and try and build my business. And yeah, I did that. And it took me like in that year, it took me 6 months to get like a first kind of opportunity. It was with the real estate. And it come off the back, it was really funny. I kind of refer to him as my mentor. Come off the back of him, meeting through him, and he knew this real estate agent, and he knew that I wanted to do that, like make videos and stuff for real estates. So he's like, I've got this young guy, like he's pretty keen. You don't do video, he's a videographer. Get him to do this. And yeah, we connected. Off that, did a few shoots with them, and then yeah, I eventually got some big, like more opportunities and stuff like that in real estate. And it wasn't until a year later, kind of everything for me, like middle of 2023, so middle of last year, everything kind of, all that 18 months of just real grit and determination and just like staying consistent, that's when it all kind of exploded. And finally,
were you still working at Bunnings at that time?
Yeah. So I was working at Bunnings until the end of last year. So pretty recent, man. Like, but so to paint the picture, I was at 30 hours for a year. Yeah. And then I went down to 25, so that was 3 days a week. Okay. So I just kept dropping a day. Yeah. And then I'd fill those days with shoots. But you know, it come to like the last quarter of last year, 2023. I could have probably left then, but I wanted to prove to myself. I'm like, no, kid's gonna, as soon as a person my age gets exactly what they want, they're gonna just quit their job. Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to be like that. I want to stay here for as long as I can.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's just like a different kind of mindset. Yeah. Like I want to make sure that I stay grounded and don't become complacent. Yeah. And then at the end of the year, I was like, all right, I'm gonna leave because I want to go on in the new year fully focused and fully aligned with what I'm doing in the direction I'm taking. Yeah. But like, it's funny how I did like kind of thought of it like that, because I explained it to some people and they're like, why would you do that? Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, interesting, bro. So obviously, videography, especially, there's a massive upfront cost. Is that also what the Bunnings job was allowing you to then get gear with and kind of help yourself so that when you can go full time, you've got all the gear ready? Is that kind of what that was?
Yeah. Well, also the biggest thing my parents said to me, and I'm really lucky and grateful that I have really supportive parents that, support me. Like my dad doesn't really understand, too much about what I do, but he's supportive and he's appreciative, and he's like, as long as like, the biggest thing they said to me at the start when I was like, I'm not going to uni, I'm just going to work at Bunnings and pursue this. Yeah. They were like, just stay at Bunnings, earn an income, at least you're doing something, build your business, go from there. Yeah. So I really valued that. And obviously I was, Bunnings at the time was like really good income, especially at my age as well. Yeah. At being 18, 19. So I was able to kind of fund, buy some new cameras. But as soon as I got paid from like a shoot, I put that in my business, like in reinvest, and I was just ready to reinvest. Yeah. So, and I can't stress that enough. Like when you're like in those early days of whatever you're trying to do, pursue, or, if you're starting a business, you need to reinvest. Especially, it's just so important to reinvest. Yeah,
100%. That's when we start monetizing this podcast. We'll get like as many cameras as possible. Get some chairs out, I don't know, maybe a bit more padding. Make it nice.
These are good. They're
from Kmart though, so maybe like some, I don't even know, chair places, but some nice ones, And make everything look a little bit better. I think reinvesting is a massive thing.
Oh, it's super important. I wish I invested more in those early days.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was still careful like with how I invested. Like I wish I kind of just went bang, but you're always going to look back and do things different.
Yeah. So that's the power of hindsight. Yeah. And unfortunately, we don't have that benefit all the time. Now, okay. Obviously, cognition media. Yeah. That is pretty much your number one focus. That is your number one focus at the minute.
Yeah, for sure.
Take me through the relevance of your podcast, why you started it, and the link between your podcast, What's Your Why, correct?
Yeah, correct.
And the stuff that you're doing at Cognition Media.
Yeah. It's a good question, man. I don't want to give away why I'm doing like it too much, but it is a marketing funnel for my business. Yeah. I really do like the whole marketing like I'm really into sales and marketing. And how like a brand is perceived. So I really wanted to dive into that. It's also a form of networking and just
the value exchange.
Yeah, for sure. In an hour interview, you can get a really cool, interesting person on and learn a lot from them. I've done 3 episodes so far, and I've learned a lot from each guest. Yeah. So I think all those factors, and it's a very small like amount of investment coming out of the business. I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, 100%.
Not only am I marketing myself, my business, I'm learning a lot from high quality people, and I'm networking with them. Some people I haven't met yet, and I'll get them on the podcast, and then we stay in touch now.
So,
it's been really good, and I learned a lot about myself too, man.
Bro, facts. You start to learn so much about how you can articulate words better. Now, my English sucks. For context, when I was living in Germany, I say this all the time. Like, my vocabulary is so limited because I was only speaking like, when I was in Germany, I was speaking like literally like 5 words. I would say like, yeah, good, how are you, hi. That was basically it for like 2 years.
Yeah, wow.
And my vocabulary suffered. I didn't have like an extravagant vocabulary. Wow, I shouldn't have said that because that makes me sound like I'm a know-it-all. But definitely not. I'm not a very smart kid. And yeah, my vocabulary suffered, but I then figured out how I can start articulating my words better, my sentences, everything like that. And I used to literally get like teased by a teacher because of how inarticulate I would be. And he would ask my friend, like, it was a science class, and I'd be like, yeah, I'll answer this question. And I'd try and explain myself, and I'd stutter left, right, and center. And then my teacher would be like, he'd ask my best friend, and he'd say, translate it for me. And I'd be like, I just want to speak. I want to answer the question.
Yeah.
And literally through the podcast, bro, like I put a lot of effort into the briefs, especially in the research that I do with my personal episode that I do. And I learned so much. And I think that you'll see that as well for yourself.
Yeah, I already have, man. It's really interesting. It's so funny you say started. Oh, bro, on the last episode, I went to say something, And then I was like, oh my God, I forgot what I was going to say. And I'm like, that is so embarrassing.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to cut that out. But I'm like, actually, no. That
Keep it in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kept it in. I'm like, no, I show off the imperfections because hopefully if I do like 200 episodes, like people can see that gradual improvement.
Yeah, 100%.
And even see like I started it when I was 21, when I'm 24, and that it's documented then too. I think documenting is important. I wish I did more of it as well, and I need to probably start doing more of it.
Yeah,
because it's always good to look back and see where you started and stuff. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I found that bringing the iPad, taking notes really helps. Like I had to write a few things there because you just forget things and you go off to different tangents. So definitely, I don't know if you've got an iPad, maybe just literally just paper and pen.
Yeah, I actually like that. I've been using my phone just on notes.
Okay, yeah.
Because I just write a massive script, but it would be great to, ask deeper questions off the questions I ask.
Yeah, this one here, $50.
Really?
Yeah, so it's really old, but literally I just use it for briefs. And
yeah,
I mean, normally, this is mine, but I'm using my dad's iPad Pro today because I forgot to charge that.
Yeah.
But yeah, iPads definitely help.
For sure. Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, I won't name where I got that from because it's, do you know the second-hand company that starts with a C, ends in X, and then it has an E in the middle of it? Okay, I won't say it out loud because it's probably going to get this video like, I don't know what you'd demonetize, something like that. Yeah, don't know if that's a thing, but yeah, it's that company, and they're pretty good. They just sell second-hand stuff. They got stores everywhere, pretty much.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, just got $50. Perfect. That's all I need.
Perfect.
I'd recommend it for sure. Okay, talking about the podcast, I want to go into a little bit about who you want to get on. Obviously, you're 3 episodes in.
Yeah.
So tell me about the vision for that. Also, the upload schedule that you're looking at.
Yeah, well, I'm going to expose myself here.
Okay.
So I probably won't stick to it.
Okay. So what's the overall vision for it then, in terms of who you want to get on?
Yeah, look, I think it's just important for me to just get on people, anyone just anyone doing something I find that interesting, because then I can start a really cool, interesting conversation with.
Yeah.
And then that turns into a good listen and people will get something out of it. I want to create like something where you can put on, listen to, and you get something out of it.
Yeah.
Every time. It's like Diary of a CEO. Every time I listen to that podcast, I don't know the people that Stephen gets on, but it's such a good listen. I'm so intrigued by the questions he asks and how he articulates the questions and how the guest comes on and answers. I always take away at least 1 or 2 good points from each episode. So if I can create something similar to that, obviously not the scale, because he's one of the biggest podcasts in the world, right? But if I can just create that and get on people in Newcastle and surrounding areas that are like-minded or doing something, that's kind of the goal. And in terms of consistency, obviously that's everything. But my goal at the moment is twice a month, so one every second week.
Yeah.
And so I've just posted the second episode this Monday. It's doing pretty well actually, which is cool. And then I've got the 3rd episode already ready. That will launch in Monday on the 27th of May. So that'll be the next episode. So start of every month, I just bang, film, record, edit 2 episodes, and then they're scheduled. So every second week, it'll just be like upload. A flow on
awesome
effect. But will I stick to it? Who knows? Because
you're on this episode, so I'm going to make you now.
Yeah, I someone's going to clip this and I'm just going to get exposed if I miss a
I'll be clipping it and sending it to you in 2 weeks' time. Where's the upload?
Yeah, where's the upload? So I've got to, it's going to be hard because, you got to run a business as well and stuff, and doing, sometimes if you try and do too much as a one-person band, you got to take priorities.
Yes.
So, but it is my goal to build that up and, hopefully even make it one of the biggest in Newcastle. I hope. Yeah. To try and do.
I back it, bro.
Yeah, because it's cool. And shout out the Newy studio where I film it at.
Yeah. Great
recording place. But that's that. I don't know. That's kind of the plan. I've always wanted to do one too. So it's just cool. It's cool that it's all coming to fruition now, and I'm pursuing something that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah, awesome, bro. I love it. And if I can help in any way, let me know as well, because I've also now just started to get the in-person, right? And that's what I think is really going to help take me to the next level with the
For
podcast. Now that I've been doing it for so long, my approach was literally just 2 episodes a week for as long as possible. I'm sure you're aware with what the podcast kind of stats are. If you're 20 episodes in, you're in the 1% already. Now, most people don't get there. 99% of people stop 3 episodes in, right? So if you get this next episode
if I
out,
do the next one, I'm above.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's try and get to 20 at least.
I'll stop at 5. Nah, that's not the goal, man. There's longevity to it. There's definitely a process to it, and it's not just more of a podcast. It's like I said before, a bit of a funnel.
Yeah.
Not to give too much away, but
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what this is, to be fair. Right? So, yeah, I mean, to be fair, me and my co-host, we talk about most of that stuff. We're pretty open with it because of addition to what we're doing with my app, the educational platform. It's just a platform for us to speak about it, get behind the scenes, talk business. Obviously, I explained to you before how we're now transitioning to full-time business. So this is going to be a funnel for us. We want to be, sharing from the get-go, as I have been doing, as he's been doing. He's been doing Instagram for maybe like 3 years, I think, during COVID. And yeah, he's got a great, massive following, which will then help us with all the other things that we're doing. But bro, what I want to do, I actually want to go through some of your edits live in the flesh.
Oh no.
All right. And I want you to take me through it because I actually have some questions. And this was because, hey guys, I don't want to interrupt this episode, but gotta do what I gotta do. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you leave a comment if you enjoyed it. If you want any to give any feedback, even just leave that below. We're open to everything. Join the Patreon, guys. There's gonna be a lot more stuff on there. We want to hear from you guys as well. We want to get you involved. If you want to be beta testers to the SCULPTED app, let me know. I can make that happen. Try and get involved at any level. What we're doing at Live Free, guys, make sure you check what we're doing there. Liam's got his own personal YouTube channel. He's always uploading. I've got my own personal YouTube channel that I've started uploading twice a month now. It's going to be cinematic like I am now, right? I've got the light above, got a cool camera. That's what I'm going to be working on, guys. So make sure you follow Live Free Diaries. SCULPTED app. We're doing great stuff over there. Additionally, we want to grow this podcast, guys. And the only way we can do that is through your guys' help. So make sure you subscribe, listen to us on all audio platforms. We're everywhere. So make sure you interact with us. Make sure that you help us grow, because the only way that we can grow this podcast is through you. We'll get better guests. We've always had great guests from the get-go, but we'll get even better guests on. Production value will go up. I've got my studio, but we need to get Liam his studio, and the only way we can do that is through monetizing this platform. So make sure you do that, guys. And I'll get back to the episode. I'll let you go. Look at what's just popped up. This is just on my... Ignore that. That's crazy. I don't know what that is, but that's just popped up on the For You page. So,
yeah.
Oh, that's the personal. All right.
That's the personal.
Let me go on to the podcast on Instagram. And...
Oh, bro, I need to sort out my actual podcast account. It's just so bad. It's really gone.
Bro, I mean, to be
just posting clips at the moment. It's not really how I want to do it. So.
But clips are growth, right? Yeah. I honestly, it could be more of a strat for me to kind of go on a similar schedule to you and then focus on clips. That could be something that I do. Yeah. Just because now clips like this will actually get views. But
sure.
Clips on like, I was literally like using FaceTime pretty much because all of them were on Zoom and whatnot. But now I think clips,
especially in person.
Yeah, 100%. Now let's go on to the Cognition Media. I saw your story, made me laugh, bro.
What's that?
Yeah, it's so funny.
Baby, do you know that's
Brother.
When I saw that audio, I know exactly.
Yeah,
it's so funny. I was editing it, just laughing.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
And
audio.
It's funny because literally last night I posted. That's actually another post of yours. I posted a similar video in terms of the color grade, and I was literally going to do the similar thing on the beat drop, not with the same song, but the same concept. Yeah. It's literally the same three, like the 3 images. I use the what's it called? It's not bokeh, but that's the camera with aperture. But it's bento boxes. I use bento boxes heap, and I just started a new personal Instagram, and so I've done this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, nah, bro.
So I was gonna do D-log for the beginning and then make second on the drop.
Yeah.
Color graded. But I was like, nah, the trees look too good not to color grade it. So
yeah.
But yeah, that was funny. Now that was also kind of just off topic,
Yeah.
but take me through. There was a specific one that I saw,
Okay.
and I want you to take me through. Okay, that one's fire. But there's a specific effect that you use,
Okay.
and you told me that you use Final Cut Pro.
Hmm.
This can't be done on Final Cut Pro, from my understanding. There's one specific effect
Okay.
that I'm pretty sure is only in After Effects or Premiere Pro kind of transition. And am I right in saying I'm gonna have to find? Yeah, is it this one? Wait. Okay. Firstly, how are you doing the ease in on Final Cut?
What do you mean?
You're easing into a zoom like that. How are you doing the ease in on Final Cut?
I'm not too sure. Like,
Are you using a specific transition?
or I'm just like literally speed ramping. So like I'll put out all my clips in slow motion and then I'll
Yeah.
just speed up the last bit and the first bit of the next transition.
Yeah. So you're only, but there's a at least a crossfade at the bare minimum there, or are you literally just raw going speed ramps there?
Yeah, speed ramps with motion blur.
Okay.
I think that if that answers your question.
Yeah. Okay. Motion blur makes sense.
Yeah. So the motion blur is key for most movement
Yeah.
of effects.
Yeah.
And then yeah, it's just obviously like the most important part is just shooting it right.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair. Now,
Yeah.
there was one. I think it's actually in this. Okay. That wiggle effect. Oh wait, let me go to the beginning. The wiggle effect.
I'm behind the scenes. Right.
That wiggle effect can't be done on Final Cut.
Yeah, it is, man. It's super easy.
What did you use?
So I just kind of I'm exposing my secrets.
Yeah.
You just get your whole like timeline,
Yeah.
put it all together. Like, so say you've got your edit,
Yeah.
and then you just copy and paste it over here.
Yeah.
Select it all, put it in a compound clip, speed it all up.
Really?
So it's just one sped up clip, and then you put motion blur over it.
Seriously?
Yeah,
That looks ridiculous, bro.
yeah, it's cool.
That's amazing. Wow. Okay. I do the droning for my dad, and we did Gosford RSL. You would have seen it coming off the freeway most likely. It's this new RSL when you're driving down like the Carry-On Hill, and I traditionally use Final Cut, but I used CapCut for these edits because it comes with so many like ridiculous transitions that are so easy to do that make everything just look good.
Yeah, CapCut's crazy.
Yeah.
If I had that son now, like as a 15-year-old, oh man,
Yeah, bro. So it just makes editing so much easier.
ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
you can literally edit a really good video on your phone now. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And take really good videos on your phone.
Yeah, facts.
It's ridiculous.
Facts. I mean, literally compared to this camera, even this iPhone 8 does better. Well, obviously, it's got better settings, but in terms of camera quality, this little thing here, this tiny little camera that's even broken, does better than that one.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's in your pocket. You take it everywhere you go. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Literally. I'll quickly show you an edit that I did.
Yeah.
Gosh, if people are listening to this podcast, if they've seen a few other podcasts, I rip this so much because it's like my one claim to fame. But this is what.
Oh, it's big, bro. Wow. That's sick, bro.
But that's never seen the day of light. So basically, actually, I might even, I don't know, to beep their name, but basically, Gosford RSL, they originally wanted like the videos to attract the youth.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's like, they spent like $50 million on this new building. Did you recognize it when you came down? Do you know what the one I'm talking
Is
about?
it on the left, like when you come in?
It's near Bunnings. If you saw where Bunnings was and like Office Works.
Nah.
Okay. When you go back up the freeway, assuming you go on the freeway through Gosford, you actually may not have come through Gosford, to be fair. But if you go Gosford way, it's massive, big RSL club. And they just like opened like a month ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, they really wanted to like attract the youth to this new place because it's really, really nice. And then I did all like the edits. I did like 6 of those type of videos where literally I had the CEO flying. You know, like you do the aeroplane effect from a drone. You mask out aeroplane window, and then you've got like someone flying through the aeroplane.
Yeah.
And I had the CEO flying around in like the in the foreground, and then he like lands, and oh bro, spent like so long in it, and then they say, yeah, videos are cool, but we're not going to use them in the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so all of the like videos that I made for like the youth or whatever got cut.
Oh,
And then they were like, we're going to focus on our target audience, which is like middle-aged to women.
yeah, right.
So then they went back to the slow, boring, like literally just no transitions, just hard cuts.
Yeah.
I was like, that's my job done then. And because anyone can do those types of videos, you know?
Yeah. To an extent, yeah. You've obviously still got to be able to use a camera.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting. But bro, I love your editing style. Take me through to the extent that you're comfortable with the process of even just from shooting to idea, inception to edit to revisions to anything like that.
Yeah, right. Thank you for saying that too, man. It's funny because look at my stuff and I compare to like others, and I think that's the hardest thing as a creative. You compare, yourself to other people that may be way ahead of you in terms of their journey. They might have been doing it longer, or they've just had more opportunity. So I think that's a dangerous thing to get into, and it's something that I'm trying to like pull back from, just so there's more confidence and clarity in what I create. But as a creative, self-doubt is like it happens. We all do.
Yeah.
But thank you for saying that. My whole process, it's just, if you can, the best way to explain like an edit is if whilst you're out shooting, if you can imagine the edit whilst you're shooting,
Yeah.
that's super powerful. And I think like a lot of that separates like a lot of people from from like this point here to the higher point, because you've already, like, when you get in your office and you start editing, you've already seen it on the shoot.
Yeah.
You just got to all put it together. So I think that's my biggest thing. Seeing the edit whilst I'm shooting, and then just taking your time. So if you're with a client or subject and stuff, just be really like patient with them and kind, and also firm. But you're there to do a job, you're getting paid, and you want to make sure you get the best shots. So all that in like a little nice sandwich, wrapped into one, I think is important. And obviously making sure your lighting, your camera batteries are charged, your gimbal's charged, all of that.
Yeah.
Just so it's seamless. So you get there, you're not stressed.
What gimbal do you use?
Just the Ronin 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect. You don't need a pro or anything, unless you're fucking getting around with cinema rigs. But
Yeah, we got the pro, I think. We had the easy rig as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, any gimbal's great
Job.
Especially if you've only got a DSLR or mirrorless on it.
Yeah.
It does the job. But yeah, those are kind of what I do. In terms of the editing process, it's just, some people like to find a song and then they go out to shoot.
Yeah.
It does help.
Yeah.
It does help when you have a banger song.
Yeah.
And then you go out and shoot, because like I said before, you plan the edit.
Yeah.
Or like you play the edit in your head whilst you're shooting. So yes, that does help. But for the most part, I'll have like a Spotify playlist, or I have the music bed art list subscriptions where I have all my good go-to songs, and I just add to them each week. But for the most part, I'll come in, then I'll go to my libraries, I'll pick a song that fits with what I shot, and then I'll put it all together on the timeline. And yeah, I can't really explain the whole process because it's just flow. Like, creative flow takes over. Like after 20 minutes, half an hour, I think time goes out the window. And then by the time you're done, 2 hours have passed. And
You get lost.
Yeah.
Facts.
And that's what I love about my job, man. You can just dial in and everything goes out the window. It's so good.
Yeah.
But I think, maybe I should have more of a process to it, but I think being creative, there is no process to it.
I think you'll get a process. So like the biggest thing for me that I find in terms of everything that I'm doing is that I'll get lost in the process too much, because like for video editing, for graphic design, for all these different things, I just told myself that, and I don't even want to do them. I as soon as I can afford to get someone to be my videographer, I'll pay them a full-time wage, do the editing all for me, whatnot. I won't ever touch it again. But when I do it myself, I get lost. Like that edit that I just did for the iconic guy, 10 hours, bro. Just for the small intro.
Yeah, wow.
And like that wasn't even me putting in much effort, because I was like, I know that for me to do a full edit, like even with Stephen Bartlett, he has a guy just who does the intros.
Yeah, his clips are insane. And that's something that I want to like try and put on my podcast, something like that quality. But obviously it takes so much time, so got to look to outsource and stuff potentially. But yeah,
thankfully
you can get lost in an edit real quick.
Oh yeah, bro.
But that's the magic, man. And I feel like that's where the magic comes. Like my best videos have been from where there's been no preconceived idea and there's no attachment to an idea. It's just happened there and then. And, you know, fast forward a couple of hours after, when you hit the export button and watch it back, you're like, fuck, this is sick. Yeah. It's a great feeling.
It is a great feeling. Going on that Stephen Bartlett thing a little bit, I have behind the scenes access to everything Stephen Bartlett does, thankfully, through my co-host. He works for Stephen.
Oh, does he?
And hopefully even when we're in London, we might be able to go visit one of the live podcasts. He's been there before and I've seen the behind the scenes. They sit in this like bedroom. They've got a massive TV screen with every single 75 angles that he's got on the podcast and everything like that.
Crazy.
So his sister also works for Stephen as the head of failure. And so when Stephen was in Sydney, I got tickets. So go there. I went with my technological advisor for my app. And bro, it was crazy. Like we were like front row, everything. Yeah, it was mad. Stephen is a very, very switched on guy. And he scares me because he's my number one competitor that I know of right now. And I'm like, well, I have to outdo this guy now. And at least he does make it pretty easy for everyone to see what he is and isn't doing. But to be fair, I guess I'm also doing the exact same thing. I'm an open playbook at this point. But yeah, Stephen Bartlett is doing it right, bro.
Yeah, super switch on guy. I love it. Oh man, I love his podcast. It's so good.
Yeah, I got stuck yesterday. I watched 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Nothing else yesterday, literally. It was like Rebel Wilson, the nuclear war person. It was some doctor and then another thing. And I'm like, time's just gone. I was just gone. And this was like just this week's uploads. And I'm thinking, and here I am, stuck doing this 10-hour thing for a 1-minute clip, whilst he's just done, 4 episodes in a week. I'm thinking,
it's crazy.
It is crazy, bro. It is crazy. But that's the standard that we're all chasing.
For sure, man. Yeah, but you just got to think how he started. Like I think he started his podcast 7 years ago. I'm sure it's not.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near where it is at now.
Yeah.
So it's that gradual progression, that gradual improvement. And I think if you don't start, you never know. Yeah, I love that. I've been saying that in my head lately. You never know.
Yeah.
Never know. So it's just so aligned to me at the moment.
Yeah. Awesome, bro. Yeah, I think the podcasting one, I think it's going to be massive for you, bro. I think that
Thanks, man.
I'm really keen to see what you do there. Additionally, bro, I reckon, we can run back these episodes every now and then as well. We can get you back in. We can do a few episodes here and there, because I think that's actually the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, was the thing that I'm starting with my co-host, which is a private group where we get like-minded individuals and we just do a weekly call. And basically what's going to be in there is for the value exchange, right? So everyone, we have a Notion page. Do you use Notion?
Yeah, I've dabbled my fingers through it, but it's not something I know my head around too much.
It helps with business a lot. So with my team, I have all of my business directories in there, everything. So if my team want to know something, I put it in there and I'll make it visually appealing so that they can, it's just intuitive for them to basically work with. So I've got 3 different companies at the moment, and I think 5, 6 team members in total. And that's obviously a tough thing for me to work on, being 19 without really doing anything like this before. So Notion, bro, it's going to be really, really helpful for you. I'd encourage you to kind of look at that a little bit, but talking about Connexum and what we want to do there. So like-minded people, and we started this like literally last week, so it's very fresh, and we won't do too much there for a while because we want to just get people who are interested in it. And essentially, we get like-minded people like yourself, and we just do a weekly call, and we just talk about what we're doing, business. And then what we do is in the Notion page, we'll have a directory of different things. So say if you wanted to get your hands dirty with dropshipping, hopefully we'll be able to get a dropshipping guy in who can help you, maybe advise you he'll then have contacts for a Shopify store guy. He'll then have the best products, and that will be all on that Notion page, so that you can then access that. And then we'll do, in-person events. Maybe we hire somewhere in Sydney. Maybe we do a podcast all together, whatever it is. That's kind of what we want to do, because I think
that's cool as, bro.
Yeah, bro. There's a massive gap in the market in Australia right now.
Yeah,
for us to do that.
Yeah.
And if we can be the first, then, bro, I think it's a really, really positive thing. So I definitely want to try and get you involved in that somehow, whether it's, you're hopping on the 1 hour call a week with us. Maybe we start, getting, if you've got any people in mind that you want to get on board, something like that. I think it's just that really good value exchange where, all it is an hour a week call. There's a Notion page if you want to ever explore, get help. Like, say if you wanted to hire another videographer and I knew a videographer in the Central Coast and you needed him to help you,
bang,
perfect. Because that's another thing. Like, you might get a massive gig, right? And you're thinking, this happened with my dad. He's thinking, I need someone to help me. This is with the Gosford RSL. He couldn't do it all himself.
Yeah.
Thankfully, he's got a friend who also has heaps of gear and whatnot, and he did it with him. So that type of thing is like, we're young business people. We lack experience. But one thing that works in my favor, one thing that works in your favor, one thing that works in my co-host's favor is that we're well connected for our age, right? So if we're able to get those connections and make something, we're all able to grow exponentially.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, what's the quote? It's like, if you go yourself, you go fast. If you go with others, you go.
Yeah.
It's something along those
Yeah.
lines. But
Yeah, 100%, bro.
Yeah.
Definitely important. That's something that I learned a lot with LinkedIn. Do you have LinkedIn?
Nah, not really, no.
You need to get on LinkedIn, bro. You need to get on LinkedIn. So that's how I got all of my opportunities in football.
Yeah.
Every single club that I played for
Yeah, wow.
was through LinkedIn. The way that I found my employees, every one of them is through LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I've been able to punch above my weight from the get-go with employees. Like, truly, truly, truly. I'm getting people who have been doing that said thing for longer than I've been living. Where most people in my shoes would only be able to get university students or literally just friends.
Yeah.
So LinkedIn, if you can get a presence on there to any degree, any form of social proof really, really helps.
Yeah, wow.
Would definitely recommend that.
Yeah, okay.
Need to see you on LinkedIn, bro. I can help you with that as well, so let me know.
Right.
Yeah, LinkedIn, Notion. I think that's that new kind of way that people like us can start to set that trend, and if we can set it from the beginning, then what we're thinking of Stephen Bartlett, people start to think of us, So set that standard from the get-go. So that's kind of my thoughts there. But bro, I'm aware of the time. Kind of want to go and start wrapping it up with the last 3 questions that I've got for you, which is the last question, which is 3 kind of things.
Okay.
And what it is the closing tradition, and it leans into kind of like what your podcast is, the what's you why.
Yeah.
Mine is, what are the 3 ways that you sculpt yourself on a daily basis? So
Okay.
it could be, the way that you improve your photography, videography, everything like that. It could be if you do a run every morning, if you do meditation, anything like that. What are the 3 ways that you sculpt yourself on a daily basis?
Okay, that's a great question. I'd say physically, always important. So how can I do something physical every day, whether that's go for a run or train at the gym?
Yeah.
I love that. That's super important to me. So yeah, I'm training for a marathon. I'm doing the Sydney Marathon.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Nice, bro.
So yeah, just want to crank do more volume of runs per week. Because I do, basically I've got like four days of weight training and then 3 days of running.
Yeah.
Kind of sprinkled in there. So that's kind of, if I can stay consistent with that, I'll be stoked. But that's really important to me.
What's your run pace at the minute?
Oh man, I wouldn't even know. I don't.
Oh really?
I don't even really like. I use Strava, but I don't really like. I just kind of.
You
I don't have a. What's that?
You just go for it?
Dead set.
Yeah. Okay.
I ran 21 k's the other day in an hour and 58 minutes.
Okay.
I don't know what pace I'm.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's. Yeah, I'm not too sure actually, because bro, my co-host is.
He is. Yeah. I think it depends on the run, but it roams between like 5:20 and 5:40. I think.
Okay. But you do pretty long runs though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm definitely trying to increase like the volume of the run, because obviously you got to get to that 42. So
yeah.
Yeah. But I don't want to do too much too early too, because September's a long time. But so yeah, I'd say physical activity is super important. And then just every day the other other one on my mind is like, there's always something to do to improve on business wise every day. If I can wake up, I might spend an hour one day. So say on a Sunday, I might just spend an hour just doing a few things. That's going to improve my business. And then obviously through the week, I'll spend multiple hours because I try and treat it like a normal job still. I try and get Saturday, Sunday as my free days. But I think for me, man, there's always something you can do business-wise to improve your business. So that's another important thing. I kind of have a ritual every Saturday morning. I'll spend 2-3 hours getting my content for Cognition Media the following week to post.
Yep.
So I don't know if you've noticed, but I post twice a week.
Okay.
Well, it's on a Monday, Wednesday.
Right.
And I've stayed consistent with that from the get-go.
Yeah, awesome.
And it hasn't even been a year yet, and I've been able to build a solid brand with a solid reputation and multiple people interested in what I do from the back of that. So every Saturday morning, I've just bang.
That's how we got here.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. And 3 hours every Saturday, it's just like, and then that's work, like personal branding, and that's super important.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people do what I do that don't market themselves. They just repost what they do for their clients.
Yeah. Hey guys, I don't want to interrupt this episode, but gotta do what I gotta do. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you leave a comment if you enjoyed it. If you want any to give any feedback, even just leave that below. We're open to everything. Join the Patreon, guys. There's gonna be a lot more stuff on there. We want to hear from you guys as well. We want to get you involved. If you want to be beta testers to the SCULPTED app, let me know. I can make that happen. Try and get involved at any level. What we're doing at Live Free, guys, make sure you check what we're doing there. Liam's got his own personal YouTube channel. He's always uploading. I've got my own personal YouTube channel that I've started uploading twice a month now. It's going to be cinematic like I am now, right? I've got the light above, got a cool camera. That's what I'm going to be working on, guys. So make sure you follow Live Free Diaries. SCULPTED app. We're doing great stuff over there. Additionally, we want to grow this podcast, guys. And the only way we can do that is through your guys' help. So make sure you subscribe, listen to us on all audio platforms. We're everywhere. So make sure you interact with us. Make sure that you help us grow, because the only way that we can grow this podcast is through you. We'll get better guests. We've always had great guests from the get-go, but we'll get even better guests on. Production value will go up. I've got my studio, but we need to get Liam his studio, and the only way we can do that is through monetizing this platform. So make sure you do that, guys. And I'll get back to the episode. I'll let you go.
Yeah, that's okay. You're showing off your work, but you're just a portfolio. You're not a brand. You're not a business.
Well, that's interesting, right? Because I found Cognition Media before I found you, pretty much.
Yeah.
I didn't know that those two were linked, right?
Yeah.
I just saw Cognition Media, and then I saw, oh, okay, what's your wild podcast? Then I saw that they were linked.
Yeah.
That's that personal branding.
Yeah. And if you notice, you see me a lot through the content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The behind the scenes one I really like. That was good.
I'm giving away secrets, but like seriously, but like you need to stand out.
Yeah.
You got to brand. Yeah, you got to brand yourself. You got to make it into a brand, not just an online portfolio. You might as well just be your website. Literally, people just post what. Yeah, it's so untapped. Like, you're a content creator. That's the beauty of it. You can create your own content to market yourself to get more leads.
Working smarter and harder.
Yeah, and people in my industry, they don't do it. They just repost a video that they did 2 months ago for a client.
Yeah.
Put a caption, oh, look at this that we've done recently with this client. I've done that a few times too, but yeah, it's always like, how can I create something engaging? How can I, create an overall brand around everything I post?
Yeah, 100%. Do you know Be Found Media?
No.
I reckon you've seen some of their stuff, because they're the people in Toronto who do pretty much most of the construction kind of stuff.
Yeah, right.
And they are they're next level, bro. Like, actually, that's a very boring one.
Oh yeah, I have seen these guys. Yeah, these guys are crazy. Yeah, I've seen them. Sorry, I just didn't put the name to, but yeah they're solid.
They're ridiculous, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I can just to answer your question, like how I sculpt myself through physical activity and exercise. I sculpt myself business wise.
Yeah.
Every day there's something to do to improve myself through a business standpoint. That's the beauty with being so young as well. In the early days, my business isn't even a year old yet.
Yeah.
Cognition Media isn't even a year old yet.
Yeah.
So there's so much to do, and I love that. I think it's awesome. So I love ticking goals. I love going, I've achieved that. That's good.
Yeah.
On to the next one. So that every day there's something to do there, and there will be for a long time. And then the third one is just a bit random. I actually don't know, to tell you the truth. I'm a pretty boring person. It's just, I'd say what I want to do more is probably like balance my kind of like social life probably a bit better.
Okay.
How can I, this is probably more of a challenge for me. How can I go out of my way a bit more and be a bit more social with randoms, with friends, with family? So maybe that's something I need to walk away from and go, I'm going to spend an hour today with, friends, or like I'm going to, spend more time at the dinner table talking about stuff with the fam. You know?
Interesting, bro.
Yeah. So maybe that's something I need to improve on. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a tough one. I'd say that I'm very, very guilty of doing the exact opposite in terms of, I'll just continue working for the next 12 hours and say hi to no one. But
yeah, well, I'm the same. I'll lock in, and when I'm locked in, I'm locked in. But it's all about balance. Yeah, balance.
Yeah. Interesting, bro. Okay, awesome. Well, I think that's probably my kind of last questions. I think very, very good episode, bro.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure to be here.
I really, really appreciate you coming down. Obviously, a bit of a trek for yourself, but I really do appreciate it. Awesome episode, bro.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see what happens on your end in terms of the podcast, in terms of everything you're doing with Cognition Media. Really, really excited to see where you go. I do believe in you a lot, bro.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Very, very keen to see what happens there. So, wish you the best of luck. We got to stay in touch, bro. We do have to stay in touch.
For sure.
Because no matter what, as I said, with that connection thing, that's, even aside from the bread, just connecting with people is really important.
Super.
Like-minded individuals, 100% we need to stay in touch. And, bro, thank you so much. It was awesome to get you on.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, bro.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome.